Ciao people, and welcome to this edition of Whiskey and Conversation in the company of your Cowboy Casanova, Romeo of the Rodeo and Italian DJ Nick. This month we got the chance to sit down for a chat with Bradford, Loomis and Beth Whitney, Lyndsey Highlander, the LoCash Cowboys and T. Graham Brown. So all that's left to say is sit back, relax and enjoy the conversations. That was Bradford Loomis and Beth Whitney with My Beloved, taken from their great album The Banner Days. You are tuned into the Whiskey and Cigarettes show in the company of your Cowboy Casanova, Romeo of the Rodeo and Italian DJ Nick. And it truly is an honor to have this amazing duo with us today, Bradford Loomis and Beth Whitney. Hey guys, how are you?
Hey, doing good, thanks.
We just heard this great song of yours, guys, My Beloved, and actually, taken from this awesome album, it was The Banner Days, and when it actually came to collaborating together and working together, how did you guys actually start up this collaboration?
Well, it turns out we are from the same small town. We probably live about 5 to 10 minutes from each other, but we never knew that, growing up or playing music around here. We never had crossed paths until some mutual friends pointed each other's music out to us, and Bradford had me come play a show with him, and so I got to hear him and he got to hear my stuff, and we both just really liked the other's music, and so we decided to play another show together, and then we eventually thought we'd try writing a song together, and that went really well. We ended up writing My Beloved that first time songwriting together, and it came together in 2 hours, which is pretty insane for me. I don't write songs that fast, so and then after a few songs in, we'd written a couple songs after that one, and decided to come together and just release these songs together, because I think they do better with both of us, and we both wrote them together, so it just made sense. And so here we are. It's been quite a year.
Oh, well, hey, and it's definitely an amazing, amazing album indeed. And actually, when it comes to the title, The Banner Days, what made you guys come up with the title, this particular title?
Well, that was actually something that my wife had come up with. It's an old thing. I don't know exactly where it comes from, but it's essentially what it means is a banner day is a day that you would raise a banner for, quite literally. And that means like an anniversary or a birthday. So it's something you would celebrate. And I really like the idea of kind of thinking about this record, about these songs, and about this project with Beth as being, something that we're going to look back in the future. We're going to look back on this time frame and be like, those were the banner days. It's just kind of an optimistic look forward, I think.
All right, and when it actually came, to this awesome collaboration, you guys just sound so great together. Do you think it will be a once-off, or are we going to be looking at an ongoing collaboration between the two of you?
Well, we had written, for this album in particular, we co-wrote 4 songs, and then both each brought 2 of our own. Mm-hmm. But we also we have another collection. We had written quite a few more than that. So we have, I think, five more songs, at least 5 more songs that just didn't make it onto this project because it just didn't fit the theme as well. So we're looking forward to doing another album down the road. Because it's fun, it works. I think our styles complement each other really well, and I believe in what Bradford's doing, and so it's great to work together.
Oh, hey, and I definitely love the result, and it's already been compared to some other amazing collaborations and stuff. Like, for example, the first one that I personally noticed as well was what Robert Plant and Alison Krauss did on Raising Sand. And when it actually came to this album, would you say that it somewhat is reminiscent of that kind of album?
Well, I love that comparison, and that, I grew up listening to Led Zeppelin, and so, as we started these, putting together these songs for the record, we'd written a bunch of them, and as we started to kind of map out how it was going to look, had in mind. Just because the proximity of it's so similar in terms of just two independent artists coming together, releasing a record together. That doesn't happen very often. And so to get those comparisons, or to hear those comparisons, to me is amazing. You know, I'm incredibly flattered by that idea, but it's it's been a blast. That's one of my favorite records of all time, and so I love being able to hearing that from people. That's pretty awesome.
Great. And when it actually comes to, you mentioned Bradford, you mentioned, one of your favorite bands of being Led Zeppelin and stuff. And when it actually comes into the, should we say, even Americana genre and such, what would you say are your influences, or what would you say actually brought you guys to want to become, singers as a profession?
Well, for me, and it's kind of a funny thing, both Beth and I, music is very different from each other, and our influences are fairly different too. There's some similarities, but for me, I grew up listening to a lot of songs and bands like Led Zeppelin and The Doors and Cream, and I got a lot of that from my dad. But my mom listened to like Neil Diamond and Barry Manilow and Anne Murray, Kenny Rogers, and so I was around really good, classic, prolific songwriting, the music of those songwriters all growing up. But it wasn't until I heard, because we live up by Seattle in Washington, in the United States, and so there's, we had that whole grunge movement, and so it was really Alice in Chains and Stone Temple Pilots and Pearl Jam that really kind of got me singing and trying to emulate what those guys were doing. And my music that I write now, both independently and with Beth, doesn't sound anything like that, but that's kind of what gave me the start to go out and start singing. It wasn't until I started listening to like Johnny Cash and T-Bone Burnett and the Civil Wars that really I found kind of my musical identity. And so that's what a lot of the music that I write and sounds like.
Well, I really gravitate towards the melancholy singer-songwriter types. So I really like, there's an artist over here named Mindy Smith. She's kind of an indie, not super well known, but she's got that kind of vulnerable spirit and just an honesty in her writing. So I really love the lyrical part, and also anything that has kind of a Celtic influence is really cool to me. So, but I grew up listening to like musicals,
right?
Actually, like watching a lot of Rodgers and Hammerstein and listening to a lot of choral music in our house, as well as my dad listened to a lot of old kind of traditional country. So it would be like Merle Haggard and some of the Grizzly Fellas. So that's kind of my side. It is different. And then I find that I write. I focus mostly. I really love the finger picking guitar and lyrics. Those are my favorite things.
And actually, we're going to be seeing you out here with another great song of yours from the Band Aids album, which will be Come Dance With Me. And as far as this song goes, any particular anecdotes or stories behind this one?
Well, this is actually the first song that I wrote with my wife. And Kimberly and I, we read this book together, and it's kind of inspired by the book. The song is about a little girl who spends time with her grandmother, and her grandmother is a Romanian refugee who comes to the United States and had to flee some trials and tribulations over there, and so she ended up having to leave behind many people that she loved, and so it's something she never really talks about. And so this little girl who spends her days with her grandmother essentially sees her as a mystery, and there's a lot of things she doesn't know, but she picks up these moments where she'll say something or she'll do something that seems different. And it's clearly a reference to her past, but the girl doesn't get the context. And so she goes to sleep at night and she imagines these scenarios where
Well, my people, you heard it from the dynamic duo themselves, Bradford, Loomis and Beth, Whitney. If you haven't checked them out yet, be sure to do so. They are definitely worth your time. We're going to be going into another great song of theirs. This will be Come Dance With Me. You are tuned into the Whiskey and Cigarettes show in the company of your Italian DJ Nick. We'll be right back after this. That was Lyndsey Highlander with The Flowers Ain't Gonna Fix This. You are tuned into the Whiskey and Cigarettes show in the company of your Cowboy Casanova, Romeo of the Rodeo and Italian DJ Nick. And it truly is a great honour and great privilege to have none other than the beautiful and very talented Lyndsey Highlander with us today. Hey Lyndsey, how are you?
Doing wonderful. Hey Nick, how are you?
I'm doing great, thanks Lyndsey. And of course I want to thank you very much for taking your time out to be a guest on the show today.
It is my pleasure. I'm excited to chat with you.
Oh, awesome. Same here. Well, Lyndsey, we just heard this great song of yours, Flowers Ain't Gonna Fix This. And when this song actually came about, as far as any anecdotes or stories behind it, how was this song actually born?
You know, actually, this song was a story that relates to my co-writer. His name is Kenneth Duncan. And it's kind of like a reflection of a story that was going on in his life with actually a woman. But he decided that we wanted to write it for me, so we just changed the storyline a little bit. But unfortunately, he was dealing with a crazy girl in his life who just kept on breaking his heart over and over and over again, but then would use buying things for him to try to make up for it. And he kind of gave me the idea for the title and let me go with it and come up with my own story. And it worked really well. We had a lot of fun, and we shot ideas back and forth and wrote it in no time.
Oh, and definitely a great song it is. And I believe it will, of course, be featured on your upcoming EP. And when it actually comes to this EP, what are we to expect from it?
Yes, you can find Flowers Ain't Gonna Fix This on my EP. It's called You Can't Stop Me. And it's on iTunes and Amazon, and you can get it on LyndseyHighlander.com. And it's kind of more fun to do that, because then I can write you a personal note if you buy it on my actual website, as opposed to just downloading it. But whatever people prefer works for me. I'm thankful either way. But it's all the songs on there I wrote myself. They're all real, honest stories, and it's a good journey for me. But I look forward to writing new music for my fans all the time.
Oh, well, hey, and you're definitely, a great songwriter as well. And I know that, of course, you are, native of Virginia and are a big fan of Patsy Cline. And other than, of course, both being born in the same state, what drew you to her?
I grew up performing, and it just kind of came natural for me to have, like, a country twang, whether I didn't try. It just happened. And so I grew up in a song and dance company that did some older music at the time for their shows, and I auditioned to do the Patsy Cline part, and it worked out, and I got to do it all the time. So then I was hired to perform at galas and such in Williamsburg, Virginia, and I would do all Patsy Cline material with like a large band behind me, and it just became a passion of mine. And she's such a strong force, the way she stepped out and did things that a lot of women during that time weren't doing, or was risky. And so, I learned from her, and I hope to be legendary like she is one day. That would be epic.
I definitely don't see any reason why that can't happen, Lyndsey. And I know that among other things, aside from singing and songwriting and such, you also enjoy cooking and baking and stuff. And as from what I gather, desserts are one of your favorite things to make. And which would you say is the hardest dessert you have made?
Man, probably carrot cake. Like, that's my favorite dessert in the world. But for some reason, whenever I make it, it's never as good as when I go get it from, like, a little shop. And so I still don't think I have the ratio to how sweet the cream cheese icing should be, or exactly how many carrots should you use inside of it. I just can't figure it out. Maybe I'll just leave that up to the experts.
And, I'm sure it's great. And I know that you also, are very disciplined in keeping in shape physically and stuff. And would you say this has also had a positive impact on your singing as well?
Yes, sir. I mean, my dream is to be able to be a spokesperson for what I love to do as far as physical fitness and eating one day. And it definitely has a lot to do with my stamina on stage, being able to have a good, well-conditioned heart and be able to do cardio. It allows me to be crazy like I am and jump around like a wild woman. I have experienced times where I didn't get to work out as much for a long period of time, and then performed and realized, okay, that really does take me to the next level in my stage performance. So keeping up a good workout routine definitely makes you feel confident and makes you perform well on stage.
Great. And I know that you also, are one to pay a lot of attention to song lyrics and one, and poetry and such. And when when it comes to actually song lyrics, which would you say is the song whose lyrics, you were most enchanted by, or you kind of wish you had written?
Well, that's easy. That's I Can't Make You Love Me that Bonnie Raitt does. That's probably a big heartthrob for me right there. And also, currently, Lee Bryce's I Hope You Dance.
Mm-hmm.
That one, too. I wish I would have written that.
And
actually, now that I think about it, there's so many. I could sit here. There's lots of Patsy Cline and Patty Loveless and Aretha Franklin songs that I wish, wow, I could have written those if I was back in the day. My soul could resonate with.
Oh, well, hey, for sure. And I know that you also have a very strong spiritual side to you. And have you thought, possibly at some point, actually doing a full-blown gospel album?
You know what? Actually, before I did country music, I did gospel music.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom was just in town here in Nashville, and we were talking about that. We were kind of taking a trip down memory lane. She said that she could have seen me doing, like, soul and gospel music if I didn't choose to do country. And, it would definitely be something that as soon as I have the team and the finances for, that as soon as I finish, like, a large tour, then it would be a fun thing to do, to have some downtime and make my own gospel album. I mean, it would be amazing. I could collaborate with a lot of artists on that.
Oh, definitely, and I think, you definitely have the kind of voice that would be more than suited to it. And I know that you also recently, live-wise, you also participated in, some great, you had some great shows. Among these, of course, was The Stomp. And I know that it focuses very heavily on, the upcoming female artists of country music. And, in your opinion, why do you think women lately are being overlooked in country?
Nick, I'm so excited that you have done all of your homework and you know about the Stomp, because that is my heart right now and my passion. And, I think everything evolves and takes different paths in country music right now, or recently, has definitely evolved to being very strong with men. And it's easy to love their songs. It's easy to sing along to their stories. Heck, I do it. I sing those songs to the top of my lungs. But country music, back in its roots, is all about family. You can't have a family without having the ladies and their point of view as well. So I feel there is a new wave coming where the ladies are going to stand strong and bring the whole family back together and keep things alive.
Oh, well, hey, here's definitely to more women in country music. I'm definitely all for that.
And, and the most important thing is that women, a big thing about the Stomp is that women cannot be intimidated by each other or want to compete. Because one thing that makes the men so successful is that they support each other and they're all friends and they're buddies. And the Stomp is all about women reaching out to each other and appreciating each person and their talents and their strengths and wanting each other to succeed. Because if everybody succeeds, then we're all happy. So it's a good thing to support each other, I believe.
I definitely will agree with you on that. And actually, we're going to be going into another great song of yours here, Lyndsey, which will be Hard Work. And as far as this song goes, any particular stories behind this one?
Oh, this one actually is a very specific song. Harder Farm and Ranch, which is the #1 farm and ranch company in the nation. Luckily, we crossed paths, and they hired me to write their theme song.
Mm-hmm.
And although I love glitz and glam and big hair and rhinestone these days, I grew up helping my Nana and Papa on their farm in Virginia. And so they wanted me to write a song about the tractors and the farms and to salute the farmers and ranchers. And if I just dug deep and thought about my past, it came pretty easily.
And definitely a great song it is indeed. Well, Lyndsey, finally, as I said, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Of course, I want to wish you continued success with what you do, and best of luck with all your upcoming projects.
You are so kind, and one day I'm going to get out to Italy and get to see you.
Hey, I'm definitely looking forward to that. We definitely need Lyndsey Highlander over here in Italy, playing some shows for us Italians over here, for sure.
Woohoo!
Well, my people, you heard it from this amazing lady herself, Lyndsey Highlander. If you haven't checked her out yet, be sure to do so. She is definitely worth your time. You are tuned into the Whiskey and Cigarettes show in the company of your Italian DJ Nick. Enjoy yourselves. Another great Lyndsey Highlander tune. This will be hard work. We'll be right back after this. That was the LoCash Cowboys with I Love This Life. You are tuned into the Whiskey and Cigarettes show in the company of your Cowboy Casanova, Romeo of the Rodeo, and Italian DJ Nick. And it is great honour and great pleasure to welcome one half of the LoCash Cowboys with us today, Mr. Preston Brust. Hey, Preston, how are you?
Hey, man, how you doing?
I'm doing great, thanks, Preston. I wanted, of course, to thank you very, very much for taking your time out to be a guest on the show today.
Oh, no worries, man. Wouldn't miss it.
Awesome. Well, the first thing I wanted to actually ask you, Preston, was we just heard this great song, I Love This Life, and what do you love most about this life?
Man, I love our career, I love our family, and just, when you see the people, I think the world needs something positive right now, a positive reinforcement song, and this is it, man. There's a lot to be down about, but when you put it all in perspective, it's all small stuff, and, the worst could get a hold of you, but right now, man, I love it.
Oh, definitely awesome stuff indeed. And this year actually marks 10 years for the LoCash Cowboys. And how would you describe this first decade?
Long. Just kidding with it. No, it's been experimental and refreshing at the same time. When you do a bunch of shows for new people and you keep coming back and doing the shows that you do for the ones that have been there since for the 10 years, it's been a roller coaster ride, but a fun one at that.
Oh, well, and definitely you've given us some great music indeed over the course of these 10 years. And actually, when it comes to a follow-up to, the band's self-titled album, are there any plans in the works right now for a successor already?
Yes, there's some stuff coming out in the next few months that, there's a new deal that we got in place right now that has been put on the table. There's a couple of them, actually. We're just being patient. We're writing songs, and we got a couple of hits for some other artists coming out. And, it's basically the biggest thing you got to learn in this industry is patience. And it's very hard to do, especially for me. But, it's working out, man. There's some stuff in store the next month or two.
Oh, and we definitely look forward to it. And, speaking actually of songwriting, as far as songwriting goes, you guys actually wrote, You're Gonna Fly for Keith Urban and Truck Yeah for Tim McGraw. And when you guys actually sat down to write these songs, did you have these two artists in mind?
No, not at all. When we write, usually we get the better stuff when we write it for ourselves.
Right.
When we write it for ourselves, it's a lot easier, and you get to, you just think, I would cut this song, and then we were just very lucky that it got in the hands of Keith Urban, and he flipped on the song and went along and made it our first number one, and Truck Yeah, we started doing it live for like a day, and then Tim McGraw called a couple days later asking about the song, and, we gave it to him, and he did a fantastic job with it. I mean, we're definitely blessed in that area to have that luck. It's really luck. And, but it's just a lot of hard work, too, at the same time. We usually write for ourselves, and if something comes out of it that another artist wants, we ponder it. Like I Love This Life has been on hold with other artists, but I think we've taken it as a single for us this time.
Oh, great. And you actually finally got to meet him at the Tug McGraw Foundation Pro Sports Clay event. And how would you describe him as a person?
Just very humble, nice guy, super nice guy. I mean, you see why he's so successful, because he is humble and he does take care of the people who take care of him. And, and do stuff like that for charity just means a lot. And to invite us, just as songwriters, he took care of us as, we did with the song for him. So he's in great shape. He's a good guy, great wife, good kids. So he's an all-around icon.
Definitely. And when it comes, to your musical influences and stuff, who would you say are the artists that have influenced you the most?
Man, there's a ton, but in country music alone, Garth Brooks was my inspiration. I wasn't even thinking about country music. I wasn't even really thinking about music until I saw a Garth Brooks concert when I was younger, and I flipped out, and that's what I wanted to do.
Oh, great. And, as we were saying, you guys already celebrated a decade of, your career. And where would you like to see yourselves after another 10 years of the LoCash Cowboys?
Retired and rich in Hawaii.
Well,
there's a lot, man. It's the touring part of it's fun. I'd like to settle down. Like right now, we do about 160 shows a year. I'd like to see it definitely some 50 or 60 shows and spend some time with my family and, really just be iconic, be great role models for kids, which I think is really a need in this world right now. So, and maybe movies. Movies might be in the blend too.
Oh, well, definitely. I mean, I think that definitely work indeed. I mean, you guys definitely look great in videos and stuff, so there's no reason why that can't happen. And as far as the continuation of the summer goes, what are your plans?
Well, the summer has been absolutely crazy, which is good. We've been busy. There'll be 160 shows this year. We are headed to Canada tomorrow. And then we'll go back right to Kentucky, which they're nowhere near each other. But, it's going to be fun. We're hitting all these stations. We're hitting all the states. I think we hit every state but 2 this year.
Oh, well, hey, and that's great. And here's hoping that you guys can finally, make the trip and come over and play for us over here in Europe, too.
We are trying, that's for sure. Hopefully we'll get out there.
We definitely look forward to that. And finally, when it comes to the fans and the listeners, what would you like to say to them?
Just thank you guys so much. A lot of artists thank the country music fans because it's more like they're friends and they want to see you succeed and they've been behind us all this time and nobody can do anything that we do without them. So we would be lost without them.
And we definitely thank you guys for everything that you guys do. And, finally here, Preston, we're going to be seeing you out here with another great song. It's actually one of my personal favorites, which is Best Seat in the House. And, when it actually came to this song was, and you got to write it and everything, would you say that it was a cathartic experience and was able to help deal with a loss like losing a loved one?
Yes, it is helpful. I mean, I still cry every time we sing it, man. It's a pain that doesn't go away. You learn to kind of live with it, and it does help a lot, and it helps a ton of people who have listened to the song that has lost a grandma or, a brother or anything like that. We truly believe that they are in a better place than we are, and one day we'll see them again.
Well, amen to that. Well, Preston, and finally, I wanted to, of course, thank you very, very much for your time. I definitely appreciated it. And, of course, I want to wish you, continued success as far as the LoCash Cowboys go. And, best of luck with all your upcoming projects.
Thank you so much. Anytime you need us, just give us a call.
Oh, it will definitely be, definitely would be great. Well, my people, you heard it from the man himself, Preston Rust of the LoCash Cowboys. We're going to be going into this amazing, amazing song. This will be Best Seat in the House. You are tuned into the Whiskey and Cigarettes show in the company of your Italian DJ Nick. We'll be right back after this. That was T. Graham Brown and Vince Gill with He'll Take Care of You, taken from his latest album, Forever Changed. You are tuned into the Whiskey and Cigarettes show in the company of your Cowboy Casanova, Romeo of the Rodeo, and Italian DJ Nick, and it is a great honor and great privilege to have with us today none other than Mr. T. Graham Brown. Hey T, how are you?
Nick, I'm doing great, man. You're talking about cigarettes and whiskey. I'm not smoking cigarettes or drinking whiskey, but I am having a nice cigar out in my backyard.
Oh, that is awesome. And, T, we just heard this, great latest single of yours, where you team up with Vince Gill, He'll Take Care of You. And as far as this song goes, how did it come about?
I have a friend named Dan Penn that wrote a lot of old soul songs in the 60s, and he makes these CDs in his basement. He has a studio in his basement, and I got a hold of one of his CDs, and it had Forever Changed, and it had He'll Take Care of You on it. And we went in, and it was such a great song, I just wanted to record it, and it sure did turn out well. I have Vince on. Hey, Nick, the first time I heard that song in the control room, I cried because it was just that special to me.
It's definitely a beautiful song indeed. And actually, when it comes to the title of the album, Forever Changed, what made you decide to give it that title?
Well, Dan Penn again wrote a song called Forever Changed, and about 4 years ago I got really serious about my Christianity, and that's how this gospel album came about, and we just thought that would be a good title for it.
Awesome. And actually, speaking of, life-changing events, would you say that was the event, one of the big events that changed your life forever, or was there others in particular that you would say were really life changers for you?
This is the biggest change I've ever had, Nick. If you knew me before, you could see the change in me. I've always been pretty wild. I had a drinking problem for a long time, and I've just overcome a lot of obstacles. I have a wonderful wife that's helped me through all this, and of course God Almighty, and it's just been a great change for me. I'm much more happy, and I'm in a lot better health, and it's just been a wonderful thing.
Well, and that's just great to hear, T. And, and this album, of course, also features other great guest appearances from the Oak Ridge Boys to Leon Russell, Jimmy Fortune, and just to name a few. And how did you go about picking who you wanted as guests?
You know what, Nick? I have never, ever called in any favors in 30 years, and I wanted some friends of mine on this record, and everyone I called said yes. I really wanted the Oak Ridge Boys to sing some background, and I got 3 or 4 or 5 big stars from gospel music to come over and do it. And Jimmy Fortune was with the Statler Brothers, I think 22 years, something like that, and he's in the Country Music Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. Leon Russell, I've done a lot of work with him in the past, and I called him, and he was more than happy to do it. And he's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, so we've had a lot of good guests. It's just been a joy, Nick. This is the most fun I've ever had, and I think it's probably going to be the best album I've ever had.
Well, it definitely is shaping up to be that way for sure, T. And I know that you've, of course, just mentioning a few names right here, you've had the chance to work with some incredible names throughout your career. Who would you say was the most fun to work with?
Oh, it would be a tie between Leon Russell and George Jones. And George was a great friend of mine, and we got to sing together on his albums a couple of times. We did some duets, and he invited me to sing on I Don't Need Your Rocking Chair, which was a big hit. And I'd say George Jones probably first, and Leon Russell a close second.
Oh, great. And, and you've had some, just great success.
Hey, Nick.
Yes?
Hey, Nick. Just don't tell Vince that, okay?
I promise I won't. My lips are sealed. and when it actually comes, to your career so far, you just had some amazing, accolades and success and such. And when it comes to the songs that actually charted at number 1, Hell and High Water, Darlene, and Don't Go to Strangers, which surprised you the most when you heard it became a number 1?
The Hell and High Water. I wrote that song, and I didn't think that I was a very good writer, and they wanted to release it and totally put it out, and it was a big, big hit, and I'm so glad they picked it.
It's definitely a great song. It actually is my personal favorite of yours. And funny enough, we almost share a birthday, T, because I was born on the 29th of October, and I know that you were born on the 30th. And actually, if I'm not mistaken, this year you will be turning 60. And do you already have any particular ideas on how you're going to celebrate?
I doubt it. I might cook some hamburgers on the grill. I don't know.
Oh, hey, I think a barbecue or grill is always definitely a great way to celebrate. And, Harlan Howard once said, country music is 3 chords and the truth. Do you think this statement still holds true today?
Well, today I don't know. They used to be, but I don't know. I don't really, I'm like Vince. I don't really understand what's going on today, but more power to them. It's anybody that can pull it off is doing a big thing. But Harlan was a great friend of mine. Back when I was singing demos, I went in the studio, and Vince and I both did a lot, recut a lot of his old songs so he could pitch them again. Harlan was great, man, and that's a great saying, 3 chords and the truth. And when you're writing a traditional country song, that's the way to do it.
Definitely. And, when it comes to the listeners and your fans, what would you like to say to them?
Wow. Well, I want to thank them for keeping me in business and allowing me to make a living all these years. And Sheila and my son Acme Geronimo Brown are really thankful for that. And just tell everybody that God loves them and everything's going to be all right. And it's a beautiful world.
Amen to that. And of course, T, we're going to be seeing you out here actually with another great song of yours. We touched up on it, and actually I said it's my personal favourite, which is Hell and High Water. And as far as this song goes, any particular stories behind this one?
Well, I don't know if you know who Alex Harvey is. Mm-hmm. He's a great writer here from Memphis. He wrote Delta Dawn for Tanya. He wrote a song called Reuben James that Kenny Rogers had a big hit on. Mm-hmm. I went over to his house one morning, and we were going to play golf, actually, and we went down in his basement and wrote Hell and High Water. It came pretty quickly. I don't think we spent an hour on it. And usually if you write a good song, you're going to spend a lot of time on it, but this one was just came out pretty easily. And we sang it for his wife. She cried. And we thought we had a good song. So then we went to play golf, and he beat me soundly.
Well, a great song was written, and a game of golf too. That sounds like a winner to me. Well, T, I wanted to, of course, thank you very, very much for your time. I really appreciated it. And of course, I want to wish you continued success with everything that you do, and best of luck with everything. And of course, an early happy birthday for your upcoming 60th birthday.
Well, God bless you, Nick. Thanks for your kind words, and you don't know how much it means to me.
And we thank you, T. The pleasure was definitely ours. Well, my people, you heard it from this legend of country music, T. Graham Brown. Be sure to check out his latest album, Forever Changed. We're going to be going into another great hit of his. This will be Hell and High Water. You are tuned into the Whiskey and Cigarettes show in the company of your Italian DJ Nick. We'll be right back after this.